Hey, what's up, guys? So, I wanted to do something today, and figure out uh, everything with the new runes, the new masteries, and everything going into League of Legends Season 9 preseason or whatever, and take a look at what some of the better builds might be going forward for some of the champs that I play the most. So probably won't do too much gameplay. Maybe might take a couple of them into to battle to test them out, but more or less this is what we call theory crafting, which is these look good on paper and should work, but we have to test them to find out. Looks like the new Season 8 rewards have come in. So we got that. It should have the... oh, look. I got Honored 3, 4, and 5 wards. And the Victorious Oriana, which I already had the champion, so it's not really giving me the new champion. But we do have the Victorious Oriana skin. Cool. So that's a thing. That's stuff that just got added to the collection. We look at the icons, which is the new gold. It's kind of neat looking. I think the ones in the past. Let me think here. Yeah, there's the old silver and the old. Let's see. That was 2016. There's the old gold one. I was gonna say I know. There were a couple seasons where I, ended in gold, and then on this particular account, 2017, this account actually got banned while I was still in silver, and so I couldn't finish the climb for that season, so I missed out. As far as skins, man, I have so many skins, 481. This is not a PBE account. This is my regular account, and I just have that many skins. It's insane. Alright, and also there's going to be a new champ coming out. I think I have plenty of blue essence to pick her up as well. That's Nico, the chameleon. It's going to be an interesting champ. On the PBE, she's completely, literally broken because they had to disable her already at one point for a game-breaking bug. Basically, when she would die, if she died, the PBE server would crash, which is a weird bug. But anyway, we're going to take a look at the new runes. They're all different. As a matter of fact, I am going to just go ahead. We're just going to go ahead and trash every single rune setup that was already here, including that. So let's see. The first thing I'm going to do is look at Thresh, because Thresh is the main champion that I play on this account. I have the most mastery points on him, and there's just so much new stuff. So, but Resolve is always going to be the first way to go. So we're going to theory craft this one for Thresh. And, a lot of the times it'll work for most tanks and things too, but I always go Aftershock on Thresh. This is kind of new. It's called Shield Bash, and of course now Demolish is in here as well, and Font of Life. Normally this would have been Bone Plating. So when shielded, gain 1 to 10 armor and magic resist based on level, which works with Thresh's Lantern. When you gain a new shield, your next basic attack against a champion deals 4 to 22, 1.5% bonus health, and 8.5 new shield amount, plus adaptive damage. That sounds like it would be something like for Karma. I don't know. Demolish. I mean, yeah, you can take turrets faster, and now with the new turret plating, you might be able to get to that gold faster. But I want to say probably Shield Bash is probably going to be the better option on Thresh, because you can lantern somebody in, and when they take the lantern, then it gives you both the shield, and then you can auto attack and do some decent damage. Although I really never try to build Thresh damage wise. This is where it gets a little bit hard for me, because it used to be you could go bone plating and then conditioning and then overgrowth. Now you have to actually choose between bone plating and conditioning, which, you know, having to try to decide between the two. I mean, bone plating is obviously great. Conditioning will be better for mid to late game with the new, you know, offense, flex, defense runes, those bonus stats. But I'm going to stick with bone plating. We have unflinching, revitalize, and overgrowth. I personally like overgrowth on Thresh just because his bonus collecting of souls gives you armor, and so you're not really having to buy health items, and the overgrowth will help compensate for that. It's nice having a lot of armor, but it doesn't really do you a whole lot of good if you don't have a lot of health. Now, before, I usually go, I mean, I always have gone with inspiration, and I'm a little bit different with my Thresh builds. I like to get Futures Market and Cosmic Insight, because I like being able to back and get full items that I normally would have to wait for or wait to back. But I'm going to take a look at some of this. Hex, that hasn't changed, this hasn't changed, this hasn't really changed. Some of the stats may have changed, like cooldowns and things like that. Time Warp Tonic. Approach velocity. I mean, me personally, I still feel like having the extra money in Futures Market is worth it. Because I'm not really looking for like attack speed or, you know, damage stuff. Same thing with this. And some sorcery items could be okay, like, you know, Mana Flow Band and, I don't know, maybe Water Walking or something. Would help with his mana, but I've never really run into very many mana issues with Thresh, so I'm just gonna stick with this. Now here you have 10%. Hey Jim, what's going on, buddy? You have 10% adaptive force, which means, you know, it can adapt to AP or AD depending on how you build. We don't really need the offensive stuff on Thresh. 9% attack speed or CDR. Now CDR is great to have on Thresh. More hooks, more lanterns, more flays. It's just always nice to have CDR. So in your flex, again, you can go adaptive force, 5 armor, or 6 MR. Now Thresh has a in his passive, as you collect souls, he gains armor, so you don't really have to worry too much about having all this bonus armor at the start. Plus we have this. It's probably better to go with the magic resist, but again, that's going to be lane dependent. If I step into a lane against you know, a Morgana or you know, Karma or any type of AP champ, especially someone like Brand, the magic resist will be better. But for the time being, we're gonna go armor. Actually, you know what, I'm just gonna put that as magic resist, and then we're gonna take the bonus health based on level. This should give him a maximum, you know, sustain during lane, with decent cooldowns. You're getting the CDR from Cosmic Insight, the CDR from your offensive bonus stats, and it should make for an easy way to survive. So that's going to be the theory on my Thresh build. Okay. So now we're going to look. We'll take a look at what my most played champions were. Obviously, Thresh being the highest, 206,255 mastery points on Thresh, and followed by Brand and Karma. So these two are kind of heavy AP supports. Most likely, they would end up being the same type of rune, except for I'm going to be looking at Dark Harvest this time on Brand. So we're going to create a new page specifically for Brand, and we're going to look at the domination tree. And yes, this will be Brand support, this will be Brand mid, pretty much Brand anything. Let me see what David's got to say. I'm actually streaming a Theorycraft video right now on the new rune builds. Okay, so the new Dark Harvest isn't like what it was last season. Last season was basically you would collect souls and pick up stats as the game progressed. This, however, is damaging a champion below 50% health deals adaptive damage and harvests their soul permanently, increasing Dark Harvest damage by 8. Now, the Dark Harvest damage is 50 to 80 based on level, plus 8 damage per soul, plus 0.25 bonus AD or 0.25 or 0.15 AP. The cooldown's only 45 seconds, but it'll reset to 1.5 seconds on a takedown. Now, anybody who plays Brand knows that you basically, if you can land 2 W's in lane as support, those enemies are going to be half health. And your Dark Harvest stacks are going to just pile up. I mean, playing from the support position in a lane with 2 people, and God forbid that, the Dark Harvest stacks count for like 2 things. So like when Scion, his passive, when you kill Scion's passive, that one will actually be an additional stack. Anything that has those clones or duplicates, so you can stack twice on Shaco, you can stack twice on LeBlanc, things like that, which is just going to give you a massive amount of damage. So even though we're talking about a support role, we know Brand is a heavy damage support and most likely ends up being the person to carry the game. I pick Brand when I think the rest of my team is, not going to be able to carry the game. At least I feel like I can make a difference with one Brand ult. So we're going to definitely take the new Dark Harvest. With that, your next row is Cheap Shot, Taste of Blood, and Sudden Impact, where Cheap Shot deals damages champions with impaired movement or actions, dealing 8 to 40 bonus true damage based on level. That's great on Brand because you can stun. Brand has a stun. Jim says, just another day at work, never seen this game. Oh man, League of Legends has been around forever. They're going on to a new season, and this is the preseason changes that are going to make a huge difference for when the new season starts in January. So we probably do want Cheap Shot, Sudden Impact, which is basically when you exit stealth, dash, leap, blink, teleport, blah blah blah, gives you 7 lethality and 6 magic pen. That's good for players like Teemo, but more or less for like Evelynn. Sudden Impact on an Evelynn can really do a lot of damage. Teemo still can get off the Cheap Shot because he can blind you and get that bonus damage, so we're gonna go with that. Tracking, Zombie Wards, Ghost Poro, and Eyeball Collection. Definitely go to Eyeball Collection because you're just going to be stacking crazy amounts of damage. Here we have Ravenous Hunter, which is you heal for a % of the damage dealt by your abilities, which on Brand you do a lot of damage, so you can expect that to be a lot of healing. Ingenious Hunter. Gain 15% active item CDR plus additional 5% per bounty hunter. I mean, it could be good, but most likely not. Relentless. Gain 8 out of combat movement speed plus 8 per bounty hunter stack. Not really feeling that one. And this is ultimate. This is the one where your ultimate gains 5% reduced cooldown plus an additional 2% per bounty hunter stack. Now on brand, having your ult up a lot sooner, constantly, can be game changing. Guys, give me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that, I'm back. So, in looking at all of these, I am going to say that Ravenous Hunter will be the best for playing brand support, because if you're going to heal for a percent of the damage dealt by your abilities, you're getting a ton of healing, because brand deals a ton of damage. Look, the Bronze God Xerxes is inviting me to game. Let's see. Can't right now. Streaming a Theorycraft video about the new runes masteries. Hit me up later. Okay. So I like playing with Xerxes. I don't even know that I can actually play with him, because he's what, bronze 5, and I mean, the fact that it's allowing me is pretty interesting. So anyway, let me go ahead and change this to brand support. Okay. So in the secondary, again, I like to go the inspiration route and get the, you know, the future market and cooldown, but I am going to take a look at sorcery real quick, because if you're going to play brand mid, or really expect brand to possibly carry the game if you really need it, Mana Flow Band and Gathering Storm, or even Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm, are fantastic on him. But the problem with is playing support is that you have to worry about your gold income. Now, there's plenty of gold in the game right now. The new turret plating will help with getting ahead in your lane, because it constantly procs gold income. Here, let me okay, so while we could be looking at these two, like I would pretty much guarantee that if I ended up going into having to play brand mid, I would go with the Mana Flow Band and the Gathering Storm. But we're looking at brand support, and it looks like this might have been nerfed a little bit. I don't know. It says debt limit is 150 after 5 minutes in. It seems like it was a little bit higher than that before. But anyway, it's always nice when you back to be able to buy, you know, a full item or upgrade your support item or whatnot. So and obviously the cooldowns. Now, the difference here is this becomes a new thing. So we can either go for the cooldown or that extra 10% damage, which I think between this has usually been a good cooldown ratio for Brand. So I'm actually going to go with the 10% adaptive force. Man, another 10 would be amazing. Which, you know, you're not trying to build a tank here. So not having any magic resist and no armor, I don't know. We're just looking in theory at the moment. So we get this 20 extra percent damage, and then we can either get a little bit more health or some armor or some MR. I'm gonna go with health because the armor and MR is just gonna be based on who you are facing in the lane. So we're gonna go ahead and save that. These are all things that I'm going to want to try out. I'm probably not going to try this out on this stream. I'm just doing theory crafting for this particular stream. But we'll get these down and then later on go in and test these out. So let's look and see. I think Carmo should probably be up next, but we're going to look at this. Don't pay attention to this match history. It's mostly ARAM stuff. So these like most recently played champions are pretty much because of ARAM, not because of things. I went on there in the last of the end of the season. I went into ARAMs just trying to grind out that level 5 honor. But anyway, so yeah, what do I want to look at? Champs. Okay, so these are of course my most played champs here. Obviously you see Teemo. We just did the setup for these two. I think it's kind of important to do a Karma setup just because of some of the new runes, and I think she is actually going to be really strong in that resolve build because of the shield breaker. I mean, this is a person who can not only shield herself for the extra damage, but you know, with her empowered shield, she can shield the entire team. So I think you'll see a rise in Karma play, and we'll look at that, and then we'll get off of the supports. After we'll make a general AP support page for these AP supports, which all of them are going to be a little bit different because you have, you know, they all have different play styles, whether it's Raka, Morgana, you know, Lulu, and if you're playing damage supports like Lux, you probably could get away with using the same runes that you would for Brand. I'm really excited to try out that new Dark Harvest in lane though. So let's get another one going. We're gonna look at stuff for Karma this time. And I really believe that the Resolve tree, even though she's AP and most people are going to want to build her for, you know, this type of damage, I think that by going the Resolve tree, even though the main rune here is, the main rune here is not really good for her. I mean, you could look at maybe Guardian. I'm pretty sure Aftershock does not work on her at all, and Grasp, even though your next basic attack on a champion will deal bonus magic damage to equal 4% of your max health, which you're not really building her health. So I'm feeling that Guardian, if you're gonna go this route, Guardian would be the best. And this is what we were looking at, Shield Bash. So when you gain while shielded, you gain 1 to 10 armor and magic resist in addition to the shield. And then when you gain a new shield, your next basic attack against a champion deals 4 to 22, 1.5% bonus health, 8.5 new shield amount, bonus adaptive damage. And Karma shields get large. They get huge, especially the empowered shields. So you have up to 2 seconds after the shield expires to use that effect. It sounds like it's worth it. It kind of does. Look, bone plating is always a go-to. Anytime when you can take damage and then the next 3 spells or attacks, you know, give you reduced damage, that's going to help your sustain. I don't really think she's one made for overgrowth. Revitalize. Heals and shields you cast are 5% stronger and increased by additional 10%. And that's right up her alley. So Shield Bash and Revitalize feel like they're made for Karma. It's just too bad that you basically, this top rune is the one that's just not good. So I would suggest, well, I said that most supports need this inspiration route. We're gonna go ahead and look into the sorcery route on Karma. We don't need the nullifying orb. This could be okay because her ultimate is up, which is just, you know, her R is up so often that you would actually be able to proc this every 60 seconds because the cooldown on it is about the same as her R, which would give her that increased movement speed and whatnot. But Mana Flow Ban is probably going to be the best option. Of course, you could go Transcendence if you want to get that 10% CDR at level 10. Celerity. All movement bonuses are 8% more effective on you. I think that was nerfed, was it not? Didn't Celerity used to be you would gain adaptive damage based on your movement speed? I'm pretty sure. So I really don't feel like Celerity would be good, although Karma does have the speed up on her shield, so it would make you 8% faster, I guess. Absolute Focus is sometimes that's a good one to have if you're a poke champ that's not going to take a lot of damage, but you're going to deal a lot, so that while you're at full health you can just continue to just keep poking. But I still don't think that's going to be what we need for Karma. So we're definitely going to go Mana Flow Ban. And then you can go Scorch, Water Walking, which I really don't. Let's see. Actually, it says gain 25 movement speed and adaptive bonus of up to 18 attack damage or 30 AP when in the river. Wow, an additional 30 AP while in the river. I mean, that could be fantastic for dragon and baron fights. Gathering Storm is, you know, something you're gonna want to play. I'm gonna be honest, I've been watching a lot of preseason and I haven't seen many games going over 30 minutes because of how strong everything is. So I don't think the Gathering Storm is gonna be the answer since you're having to play for the late game. Scorch has always been good. Your next damaging ability hit sets champions on fire, dealing some bonus damage. So when you hit with your Karma Q, you're going to get that additional bonus damage. So we're going to take that. Now, since we did not take inspiration route and go with the cooldown and stuff, we're going to need to look at that here. So I definitely feel like we're going to take this the CDR here. We're going to go with the adaptive force here, and I think we need to really look at either, I think the bone plating would be enough to offset the +5 armor, so we're going to look at magic resist, and I think for the most part that would be a pretty solid page. I mean, granted, this is not a high damage dealing Karma where you're going to nuke and one shot with your Q, but based on Shield Bash and alone and Revitalize, it should be a quote-unquote proper support where you're actually helping your ADC rather than having to carry the game. Now obviously if you're ADC is garbage and you need to build stronger to carry the game, you would not want to go this. You want to go as much AP damage on Karma as possible. But for Karma support, I believe this is the way to go. So we'll see. We'll test it out later. So we've looked at Thresh, we've looked at Brand, and we've looked at Karma. Let's take a look at a non-support role. Okay. I'm going to start that with Teemo, which I shouldn't even have to do, because Teemo is definitely going to be a Dark Harvest laner. The Dark Harvest procs that you get on everything with Teemo, including your mushrooms, is incredibly easy to stack and super strong. I think Teemo is going to be, or Dark Harvest on Teemo is going to be the thing going forward. However, I will set up a page for him just because the Dark Harvest that we have set up now includes support runes for Brand. So we're just going to set this up specifically for Teemo. And again, it's going to be Dark Harvest. Absolutely. Then we're going to go with Cheap Shot. Although Taste of Blood is not terrible for this. And actually Sudden Impact isn't either, because you can come out of your stealth and do a good bit of damage. But I believe that Cheap Shot is one of the better ways to go, since you can proc that off of your blind. Again, you're going to want the Eyeball Collection and probably Ravenous Hunter. But I could see Ultimate Hunter being a thing, just because, you know, there used to be the AP sorcery tree where you had your ultimate cooldown, which was basically moved to this, and being able to put many shrooms down is great, but if you don't have the mana to sustain that, it's not the best. So I'm gonna say Ravenous Hunter for healing in lane. Now this is where it's gonna get tricky. Obviously, if you're building AP Teemo, which is what I play, full AP Teemo, just like X Blotter, which is kind of like my hero, my Teemo hero. This would probably be Mana Flow Band, Gathering Storm, and once you get late game Teemo, it's over. It's pretty much good game. However, Triumph is good, with Alacrity giving you, you know, your 3% additional attack speed, and then of course you can get more down here. And then of course Coup de Grace, which, man, if they're down to 40%, you're getting those Dark Harvest stacks and dealing more damage. I mean, it sounds good in theory, but I feel like we probably need to go sorcery. I mean, I just feel like that's, even if you take Scorch or Gathering Storm, you know, I could take a look and see what X Blotter is building on his runes right now, but it doesn't show you these three. It only shows you the two main trees. So I'm going to select this for now. Get the attack speed, get the adaptive force, and probably a little bit of armor. I'm going to save this for now, and then we're going to take a look at I think he was playing on this one yesterday. I think this was the one that he was playing on stream. So we're gonna, wow, he did a Teemo jungle. Okay, so normal draft pick. Wow, he's playing some normals. That's weird. All right. So let's look and see. He went wow, he went 38-8 in this game. So and that's the Dark Harvest. So we're gonna check out his runes. So he had Dark Harvest, Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, Ravenous Hunter, and then he had Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. So we're pretty much dead on with that. So we would just need to switch Mana Flow Band out to Absolute Focus. Let's take a look at his graph here. Look at how much more damage he was doing than every person on his team. I mean, he outscaled Kaisa, Jax, Riven, Echo, Graves, Zed. I mean, he just outdamaged everybody, and that's part of why you can tell that this new build is kind of broken. But as you can see, it doesn't give you, like, it'll tell you most of the runes, but it will not tell you what the 3 bonus picks were. So we're gonna go back to ours now, and let's see. He had switched Solar. He went with Absolute Focus. All of this was pretty much the same, unless he had Relentless Hunter, but I'm pretty sure it was Ravenous. But anyway, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, at some point you're going to be dealing so much damage that it's just insane. Let me take a look at this again. Yeah, we definitely want that. And then there's a part of me that says you could probably just go ahead and take this 10% Adaptive Force top too. But early on, your attack speed is going to be just your base attack speed, so it's going to be kind of slow. So I think we're going to try this out. The reason why I'm going armor here is because when you're playing top, most of the time they're going to be AD, and having that little bit of armor might help you out. Plus, you know, you're going to have the healing, so it might help with the sustaining in lane. And these are all subject to change based on your matchup, obviously. So I've got four pages set up for 4 champs so far. I'm gonna take another look. I wonder if people are still running Klepto now on Ezreal. I've seen a few Dark Harvest Ezreals come into view. I don't really play a whole lot of champs that would use things like Predator or whatever. So it would be hard for me to tell you exactly which runes would need to be used for that. I know, like, Hecarim is a champ that basically thrives off of Predator. I think the thing is, and it'll probably get nerfed big time before the season actually starts, but I think Dark Harvest is going to be pretty much the way to go on almost all champs, especially for your heavy AP dealing champs, and even Karthus, because you're going to be able to stack so much on Karthus, and who knows how many Dark Harvest stacks you will be able to pick up just from pressing ult when enemies are low. I mean, you can pick up, if you got it at the right time, you could pick up 5 Dark Harvest stacks right off of that. I'll be interested to see what Back to Nexus, who is a friend of mine, and he's a Diamond Shaco main. It'll be interesting to see what he starts building for Shaco. Let's see if there's anything that's gonna make Volibear viable again. I mean, Volibear used to be my favorite champ. I mained him for a couple of years. I played Volibear top, and that was before there was a mastery system. But he's kind of been in a bad place. But let's just take a look and see. We'll call it maybe Volley. But I'm gonna say that that's gonna need to be resolve. I don't know if some of the volley mains that I remember are even still playing the game. Let's see, David Rue. David Rue was like one of the better Volibear players. I doubt he's played anything in the preseason, but we'll see. Let's see, when was this? Yeah, he hasn't played since September. What was he building on him? So back in September, he was building, you know, Aftershock, Bone Plating, Chrysalis, Unflinching, and Attack Speed. So basically going the Resolve, and that'll probably have to stay the same, to be honest. So let's look. Let's see. So he's going. We'll call this Volley maybe, because I'm not real sure. But I would love to be able to get Volibear back in the game. Aftershock. So after you Q or E them or whatever, you get your defense and you deal that burst of magic damage, and that's just really good on him. Shield Bash would be a non. There's nothing on him that does shields. I mean, obviously if you get shielded, and this is a tough call because I don't think any of these are really good on volley. I mean, obviously if you're playing him top, maybe Demolish. Fawn of Life could help, I guess, on your jungle ganks if you're playing him jungle. This one is completely useless on him unless you have, you know, a Lulu or a Karma or something on your team. So if we're thinking jungle, it would be Fawn of Life. If we're thinking top, it would be Demolish. I really don't see Volibear getting a lot of top play with ranged stuff top right now. Volley versus a Teemo would be horrific. There's a lot of players playing Quinn top. And it would just be atrocious playing against that tank Victor top. So we definitely don't want to get into that. So I'm just gonna say Demolish. And here, conditioning, second wind. Volley is a health stacking champion. So when it says, you know, heal for 4% of your missing health, if you have stacked a lot of health, that could be quite a lot. So I could see that being a decent option. Obviously, like with most things, bone plating is probably still the best option. Conditioning, kind of important on Volibear, to be honest. You're building health items, not armor, not magic resist. So it would be nice to just focus on buying your health items and not have to worry about spending money or wasting money on armor and magic resist. So any of you guys watching or listening playing the game, if you have any thoughts or ideas, let me know. This is the whole point of theory crafting. I'm in no way a pro at this game, and I'm sure, you know, the OP builds are going to come out, if they haven't started already, and start saying, you know, this is the optimal build and the optimal, you know, rune and mastery setup. But I'm trying to think based off of experience in the past. about what I have known to work, and things that, especially with volley, because of his weakness and his ability to be kited, and I think because of that, we really need to go with bone plating here. Overgrowth, obviously, that's going to be the biggest thing. Heals and shields, yeah, that could work on his passive, I guess, for the healing. The tenacity and slow resistance could be great because, like I said, volley gets kited a lot, and but ultimately, you have to remember that your W damage, which is based on health, overgrowth is going to be giving you free health every every what 120 or every 8 minions you're going to gain a little bit of health, and eventually that's going to add up, and that's going to work with the W passive. So that's what we're going to go with. There's a lot of things we could go here. We could go precision and give him the attack speed up here, or we could go with the more obvious stuff. Sudden impact, I believe that works with volley's Q. That's considered a dash, I believe. That could be decent. You don't really need the magic pin because I mean it wouldn't hurt, but taste of blood, it's hard to say on a champ like volley. I don't think that would be. Cheap shot would also work. As soon as you throw them with your Q, you're going to deal bonus true damage. I don't think. I mean, this could be alright. Let's look at this precision tree again. Triumph, presence of mind, overheal, nope. Alacrity would be alright. The tenacity would be okay. This I don't think would be worth it at all. This could be alright. Deal 4% more damage to champions with 150 more max health. You're on volley, you're constantly building health, so it's very rare that whoever you're facing, or at least if you're not facing a tank, or if you are facing a tank, then the 4 other members on the enemy team are probably not going to be tanks, which means they're never really going to have 150 more health than you are. This, I think, could be very dangerous, because while yes, you can deal that increased damage, volley's passive with his healing, you could be sitting there doing a lot of damage, and then all of a sudden your passive goes off and you start healing up, and it just take away that last stand bonus damage. So I really don't feel precision being a good viable option. There's not really a whole lot of stuff for AP for Volibear. His ult does AP damage, but I don't think it's worth taking the sorcery tree over it, and obviously inspiration. While Hex Tech Flash could be good, and cooldown could be good, or biscuits or footwear, some of this stuff, approach velocity could be really good. That could be okay, but volley's so short range. It's not like, with Ash you could hit him with an arrow and catch up to him quick and close that gap. But I don't see any of that really working well for Volibear. So we are going to go sudden impact and collect 2 eyeballs per champion kill, 1 per assist, and 1 per ward taken. We'll go with eyeball collection. Again, I don't think that this necessarily is going to be the best setup. I mean, I do like sudden impact on volley for sure. With sudden impact plus your aftershock, uh, I I think if you're playing volley top, I think this is a decent setup. So we're gonna look at the offensive stats. Do we want adaptive force? See, we can get that attack speed here, or we can take that cooldown, which is decent on volley because once you've used W, it's got a little bit of a cooldown. But I do think you're gonna need the attack speed, and then here, you probably want to go. I would say we have bone plating, probably armor and health. And me personally, if I was getting ready to, if I just got into a queue and I was about to play volley top, this is probably what my setup would be. Now, I'm not saying that it would be the right setup. I'm not saying that it would be the best or most efficient setup. But for me, for sustainability and pretty much kind of becoming unkillable while still dealing a decent amount of damage, this is what I feel would be the correct setup. So I'm going to leave that. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 things that we'll be able to test out on the next stream for certain champions. So let's just set up one more. And I don't want to do like a general page. I mean, most of them can get away with some generic pages or whatever. We haven't done an ADC page. I'm not sure what kind of changes are going to be done in that. Let's take a look at Ashe, because I have a feeling I'll play a lot of Ashe going forward. And she's not going to be a Dark Harvest ADC, I don't believe. So I mean, and technically we could call this a generic ADC page. So press the attack is good on Ashe and always has been. Lethal tempo is decent on Ashe. Fleet footwork is okay on Ashe for sustain. And Conqueror, I don't know. There's not a whole lot of ADCs I like to run Conqueror on, but Jhin is actually one of them. I know that sounds weird, but every time I've run Conqueror on Jhin, it has been an extreme amount of damage. I'm not sure why, but it just is. I want to say that this is going to come down to fleet footwork or press the attack. And press the attack is fine, and it goes well with Ashe's Q for sure. But I'm not really sure how the lane sustain with that is. But I mean, it does make them vulnerable, and then they can take damage from the rest of your team as well. Plus you get the bonus adaptive damage. This one is for healing and movement speed, and Ashe is a pretty immobile champ. But let's see now. It says ranged champions healing from minions is 20% effective. And I think that's kind of weird, because this was an ADC stat at one time, and now it seems like they're trying to turn that into a more of like a melee. I mean, definitely more targeted towards melee. Hey Lampai, how are you? Okay, so we're just gonna go and press the attack. Now overheal is kind of like having a mini bloodthirster. You know, once you start healing up, it'll give you that little shield. Triumph, I mean, that gives you gold and heals you. It's kind of like Dangerous Game used to be. Yeah, we don't need the mana one. Alright, so Alacrity for attack speed, Tenacity, Bloodline. We're going to go with Alacrity and probably... I mean, this is a good one because as an ADC, you're relatively squishy, so they're always going to... Most of the enemy team is going to have more than 150 more max health than you, but still. I think coup de grace is going to be the way to go here. Alright, now for secondary, I know I used to run Mana Flow Ban and Gathering Storm on Ashe, but I want to look into this real quick. I mean, obviously, Cheap Shot definitely hurts on Ashe because her passive, every auto attack and everything slows you. So I mean, but I just don't see any of this other stuff really being useful. So I don't think domination is the way to go. You could always, you know, if you wanted to throw him for a loop and take bone plating and something on here, you'd be a little kind of tanky. I don't think anything really in inspiration is logical for an ADC, but then again, you know, I've seen ADCs like Ezreal take Futures Market and Cosmic Insight and be successful. But we're just gonna look into sorcery and look at the Mana Flow band. I don't think Nullifying Orb or any of that's really worth it. Absolute Focus could make your W's poking hurt quite a bit, but we're not going to look at that. Scorch is okay. I'm still just going to say Gathering Storm, and then here we're going to go with 9% attack speed, 10% adaptive force, and 5% armor. So with this, you're going to get the extra 10 bonus damage, the 9% attack speed, and a little bit of armor. And then I think that's pretty well set up. I'm gonna put this as Ashe / PTA ADCs. So I think this is pretty generic for any press the attack ADCs. I'm good. How are you? I am just doing some theory crafting on League of Legends today to try to see if you know, what might interest me in playing later and trying out on certain champions that I've been playing all season for last season. I think this is looking decent. The only thing I really kind of want to look at, wrong thing, is champions that use Electrocute. I don't know if there'll be a nice switch between Electrocute and Dark Harvest these days. I think for the most part, Dark Harvest is just going to kind of rule them all, so to speak. You know, you have your more AP based. Let's look at straight up supports. Okay, these, you know, your more tanky support, your AP based support, your AD based support. These ones like Janna that have the shields, Janna, Lulu, and Karma, which it's weird that it's not showing Karma here. I guess she really wasn't played much as support this last season. But these type of shielding supports, I think, can all be generic use with the, and Sona as well, can all be generic use with the Karma runes that we set up earlier. Even Taric as well, just because it has like that kind of tanky grasp feel to it. Mostly I'm just going to be concerned with Thresh again. He is my main. He's my main champion, especially on this account. I need to start learning to play Tahm Kench. I think he's super strong. So anyway, that gives us 6 things to try out later. I think that's enough. I think that you know, I'm looking at least a couple of roles here. ADC support, which can also be doubled for mid, 2 tops, So 3 rolls, six setups, and I'm noticing a trend here. It looks like we're going resolve, domination, resolve, domination, resolve, precision. Okay. So it'll be interesting to test out. So I'll probably stream later this afternoon and test these out. So if you guys want to come back and watch and see how this is working out. Otherwise, I think I'm done streaming for now. I think this was, you know, I've got 11 more pages I could set up, but I'm not going to, again, try to build things for each champ specifically. Was there anything else? We already looked at and saw the newest, this is the new Victorious Oriana. So if you placed gold 5 or higher, you got this today. You also got the new gold, you know, icon based on whatever your rank was. Man, I have a lot of things. I have a lot of icons. I have a lot of skins. I don't even... Do I own a chroma? I don't think I do. I own Championship Thresh Gold chroma. Wards. They gave out the level Honor 3, 4, and 5 wards. So I'm not sure why you still get these two, because if you have Honor level 5, obviously don't you want to show off your highest rank? But I guess this could come in handy. And then of course during the event we got the cute little pumpkin cat ward. And I think I'm done on loot. I think I zeroed out all my loot last night. I still have these champions that I need to get like another mastery token for. 3 that'll be mastery 7 and 3 that'll be mastery 6. Have that ward skin, which meh, it is what it is. I have no idea what you said, Lampai, but it looks cool. I have no idea what language that is, but it looks cool. All right. Also, I think I've already done this. I'm pretty sure I've already done this. Yeah. So I would say if you have Twitch Prime, there's a couple of things you can do here. You could come to my Twitch channel, which I'm gonna put that out here in the links that'll go to YouTube and to Facebook as well as Twitch. So you can always come to my Twitch channel right here and subscribe for free, and you get some really cool emotes like these 3 that you can only see on Twitch. You won't be able to see those on Facebook, but you can get those emotes, and it doesn't cost you a dime. Normally a subscription is $4.99, but you could subscribe with Twitch Prime, and that's including Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you automatically have Twitch Prime. So it's that simple. And yeah, it helps me out and helps keep my stream alive. But also, if you have Twitch Prime, you can and you play League of Legends, you can link your League of Legends account to Twitch Prime and get free loot. I think what it gave me was an epic Vayne skin. It's guaranteed to have a legendary tier skin, which mine wasn't legendary. It was what was it? It was a Project Vayne, I think, which was, well, I guess that was considered legendary. Yeah, this one. So this is what I got with my Twitch Prime loot, was the Project Vein. So you can get your skin shard for free that way. And yeah. Alright guys, well thanks for joining me for my theory crafting. I'll put these theories to test later and see how well it does. And if you guys are League of Legends players, feel free to add me. This is my main account. This is BattleCat, and it's just like it's spelled. There's no like hidden I here or anything. Feel free to add me. We'll play, and I will see you guys later.